All right, y'all, welcome to the Kyle Kulinski Show. I hope everybody out there is having an awesome day, and I have a juicy, juicy show for you. So, in just a second, we have Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, decided to spill all the tea. She woke up and chose violence against every other member of the regime. You'll love to see it. This deep, detailed New York Times piece that came out. Apparently, they were embedded with the regime for quite an extended period of time. And they were listening. Anytime somebody said something that they thought was a side comment where nobody was paying attention, the New York Times reporters were there, just be like, I got that one, bitch. Wrote it down, ready to go. So a lot of incredible stuff that we'll talk about here in just a second. You will know exactly what these assholes were like behind the scenes. So we'll talk about that. We also have Candace Owens' own audience turns on her after her Erica Kirk meeting, which Candace says went well. Candace said it went well. Candace said, we understand each other better now. But this is clearly, backing away from the ledge of the maximalist conspiracy theories. And her own audience is furious over that. Because it turns out when you attract a bunch of schizophrenics online, they want you to keep raising the stakes. They want you to keep escalating. And so for her to, step back from the ledge, they're disappointed. So we'll talk about that. It's an incredible story. Later on, the Venezuela regime change war has officially begun. This last thing that the U.S. did is a sign that they're trying to collapse Venezuela from within. We'll talk about that. And Kash Patel is now doing podcasts while the FBI crumbles and there are killers on the loose. I mean, he should literally be doing police work right now, but instead he's talking to Stephen Miller's wife about how his girlfriend is not a Mossad agent. I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. It's absolutely incredible. So you guys know the drill. Everybody, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. Also, click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. That's super important because I do not trust YouTube to serve you the stuff from this channel because they're not too hot on political content. So subscribe, click that bell icon. You can support the show on Patreon. Thank you for everybody who does do that. We couldn't do this show without you. Remember, this is real independent media. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I've never talked to a billionaire, taken money from a billionaire or a PAC or a government or anything like that. You guys support this show from the ground up. It would not be possible without you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. So please consider supporting on Patreon, $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever it is, or tipping with that thanks button on YouTube. You could also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. We have Keith Edwards coming on this week. That should be awesome. And of course, go sub to Corin's World because we do live Kyle and Corin episodes every single Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that is a lot of fun. And now these things have been going over 3 hours. Some of them are touching the 4-hour mark because we got a lot of super chats and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So come hang out with us then too, bro. It's a lot of fun. All right. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in ski. Okay. So the New York Times did this massive report, this massive article where apparently they were embedded with the Trump regime for an extended period of time. Now, right off the bat, I find this kind of incredible because the Trump regime hates the media. They always scream fake news. They always say, it's liberal media, they're fucking liars, they're smear merchants, they're horrible, they're terrible, they should be destroyed, et cetera, et cetera. But the second they get a crumb of attention from these fuckers, it's, yes, I love it, please. I'll do a ride along with you. Do you want to live with me? Do you want to listen to every word I say? You want to, you want to microanalyze every single conversation I have with other people in the regime? Please do it. It's very strange, very weird. But anyway, that's exactly what happened here. So the story is nominally about Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles. Now, Susie Wiles has long been viewed as the adult in the room when it comes to Trump world. In fact, she was his campaign manager when he was running, and she would constantly try to keep the train on the tracks, keep him slightly less crazy. I mean, she's the one who's in the background, fucking face palming when Trump's up there talking about Arnold Palmer's cock in the last week or two of the election when he's talking about immigrants eating cats and dogs and shit. She's the one that has to be like, sir, can we please reel it in a little bit? You're not wrong, sir, but hey, it probably would be better for our chances if you don't say that. So this is her job. It's always been her job, right? Well, now, apparently she let it all fly in this interview without even realizing it, by the way, because immediately when this came out, she came out and said, I didn't say any of that stuff. Cut to, they literally have her on audio saying exactly that stuff. So here's the title from the New York Times. Trump's top aide acknowledges score settling behind prosecutions. So right off the jump here, what she's saying is, oh yeah, this is lawfare. He's doing political persecutions against his enemies, duh. And we know this. He went after James Comey. That thing is fucking up in flames, not going to go anywhere because it's total bullshit. Went after Letitia James, what is it, like 3 times now? Every single time it fell apart. This time, I don't even think they were able to get a fucking indictment. But Trump keeps saying, no, take her down. I want you to take her down. And they can't do it because you didn't do anything wrong. And here's Susie Wiles. Now, she made a deal with him. This is in the piece. She's like, look, I don't want you to do this. We think this is kind of bullshit, but I know you're probably going to do it. So at least make a deal with me that you'll only do this for the first 3 months. And then after that, you'll start focusing on more serious things. And Trump goes, okay, you got a deal, Susie. We'll do exactly that. Well, guess what? 3 months came and went, and he didn't stop. He kept going after these people because this is what this man is like. You're not going to reel him in unless, of course, you have Epstein blackmail on him or you pay him hundreds of millions of dollars. That's why billionaires in Israel and Saudi Arabia, they can get him to do whatever the fuck they want, but everybody else cannot. And so he agreed to that deal. Then he went back on that deal. And so now he's still going after these people. And Susie Wiles is admitting, yes, this is all bullshit. These people did not do anything wrong in any way, shape, or form. That's an amazing acknowledgement that the president's chief of staff is going, oh yeah, these are political persecutions. This is lawfare. These people are not criminals. Trump is trying to lock them up because he's pissed at them because they correctly went after him for his fucking crimes. This is incredible. That alone is a gigantic, gigantic story. But of course, we have much more. So now, let me show you. Here's a little excerpt from the piece. You guys are going to love this one. Over the course of 11 interviews, Ms. Wiles offered pungent assessments of the president and his team. Mr. Trump has an alcoholic's personality. Vice President J.D. Vance has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade, and his conversion from Trump critic to ally was based not on principle, but was, quote, sort of political because he was running for Senate. Elon Musk is an avowed ketamine user and an odd duck whose actions were not always rational and left her aghast. Russell T. Vogt, the budget director, is a right-wing absolute zealot, and Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed in handling the Epstein files. Holy shnikes. Why don't you tell us how you really feel there, Susie? Goodness gracious. The alcoholic personality thing, this is what we call a dry drunk. I don't know if you guys have used the same terminology, but we call it a dry drunk. That's somebody who's just kind of fucking pissed off all the time and can snap on you at a moment's notice. They have the ability to be like very sweet and nice when they're in a good mood, but then they'll just like turn on you out of nowhere over nothing and just fucking berate you and make you feel like shit. That's what she's saying about Trump, is that this guy is basically a dry drunk. And by the way, his brother, I think, was an actual drunk and ended up killing himself. So, there might be a little something about runs in the family to one extent or another, but he's clearly a dry drunk, she says. Wow. J.D. Vance, basically like, the guy's a fucking idiot. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's in MAGA world on Twitter all the time, desperate for like adoration and support from randos on the internet who he likes. Also, he's a total careerist. I mean, you guys know he used to say Trump was America's Hitler. Now he's the biggest servant to who he called America's Hitler. It's fucking embarrassing. He's a joke. I think he thinks he's going to climb the ladder to the presidency. I think that's a tough climb for him because he's just unlikable. He's just unlikable. He doesn't have charisma. He doesn't have the it factor. He doesn't have the X factor. He's just like a doughy freak boy. So there's that. Elon Musk, no scope in Elon Musk here, being like, yeah, the guy's, he's a fucking drug addict. Elon Musk, I'll add this part. He's a total colossal idiot. The dumbest billionaire in the fucking world, by the way. But total drug addict, avowed ketamine user. An odd duck, she says. I like the way, that's like an old-timey, old lady way of describing him. And then, by the way, Russ Vogt, the guy who's actually running domestic policy, that guy being an absolute right-wing zealot. This is the guy who actually cut pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels and destroyed the social safety net and destroyed the CFPB. It was Elon in theory, and he certainly helped, but it was really Russ Vogt who was showing him how to do it. So this guy who's actually running domestic policy and our social safety net, this guy is the fucking worst of the worst. And here's Trump's chief of staff acknowledging that that's exactly right. And then the last one about Pam Bondi, I got to be honest with you. You got to give Pam Bondi a pass on this because she didn't whiff on the Epstein files. That was Trump. Trump forced her to like reel it in. She was like willing to release it and all that stuff. And Trump goes, we're not fucking releasing that. What are you kidding me? Because Trump knows he'll be fucking outed in that. Now, by the way, she goes on to admit in this piece, again, massive breaking news that could be a story all on its own. But she goes on to admit, like, oh, of course he's in the Epstein files. Duh. I love how the president's chief of staff is willing to be more honest about Trump being in the Epstein files than fucking like Alex Jones, Mr. Fake anti-establishment right-wing populist who is bending over backwards and doing mental gymnastics and doing tricks on it to try to pretend like Trump did nothing wrong. Just incredible when Susie Wiles is willing to tell the truth more than fucking Alex Jones is. Other things in this piece. He was supposed to, I already told you, he was supposed to only do his political retribution tour for 3 months and then fucking lied and went back on that. In this piece, Trump says he knows Bill Clinton was not on Epstein Island, but he goes after him for it anyway. So he knows he's lying when he says that. That's incredible. So now we have 2 pieces of validation, verification from the Epstein emails where Epstein himself said Clinton was never on the island. And you have Trump saying, well, I know he's never on the island. I just lie and I say he's been on like dozens of times or whatever he says. That's incredible. So, by the way, I must admit, I was under the impression for the longest time, of course, Clinton was on the island. He was really close with Epstein. Now you have Epstein himself and Trump both admitting he wasn't on the island. We're just fucking like making that up. Oh my God, that's so incredible. That's so incredible. Also, Susie Wiles told Trump not to pardon the violent January 6ers. He did it anyway. She tried to get him to delay tariffs. Her strategy was, let's not do the tariffs until we can get agreement from within the regime, from everybody within the regime. And Trump was like, fuck you, I'm doing it. He did the tariffs. Of course, that led to an economic catastrophe. We're still dealing with the fallout now. And that like basically every intelligent person in the regime was like, don't do it. And he fucking went ahead and did it. She also says, yeah, we got to kind of work on our immigration thing a little bit, huh? She says she tried to basically get them to stop terrorizing non-criminal immigrants, and that didn't happen. So, like, apparently she has no real power. No actual power, because anytime she tries to get them to be more reasonable, it just totally fucking backfires. So more. Here, I'll give you some quotes from it. Quote, she attributes her ability to work for Mr. Trump to growing up with an alcoholic father, the sportscaster Pat Summerall. High-functioning alcoholics, or alcoholics in general, their personalities are exaggerated when they drink, she said. And so I'm a little bit of an expert in big personalities. While Mr. Trump does not drink, she said he has an alcoholic's personality and operates with a view that there's nothing he can't do. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. In a sign of how much her job revolves around the president's big personality stream of consciousness public comments, she keeps a freestanding video monitor next to the fireplace in her West Wing office with a live feed of Trump's social media posts. Bro, what? That's how unhinged bro is. The chief of staff has a 24/7 live feed on her screen in her office of all of his whacked out posts so that when something crazy comes up, she could go to the Oval Office and say, Mr. President, we might not want to share a totally fake conspiracy theory that, that Deep State Slayer 6969 posted. That's not a good idea, sir. Man, God, this is so embarrassing. It's so, like, they have to, she treats him like an alcoholic, obviously, but also kind of like a toddler. Like he's a toddler. Like he actually is like that behind the scenes. All right, then we get this, quote, this is wild. Listen to the admission that's embedded in this. Ready? Quote, she offered no objection to Mr. Trump's saber rattling against Venezuela and bombing of boats carrying alleged drug traffickers, suggesting that regime change against Maduro was Trump's real goal. Quote, he wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle, she said. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will. She acknowledged that Trump, who lately has talked about mounting a land strikes in Venezuela or elsewhere in the region, would need congressional authorization for that. Quote, if he were to authorize some activity on land, then you'd have to. Then it's war. Then Congress, she said. So in other words, they know that to do those land strikes, they need congressional approval. So that's why they're doing like basically a psychotic murder spree where they're just like doing terror attacks on random fishing boats for extended periods of time, killing now I believe 95 people have been killed in these attacks. Zero evidence they're drug smugglers at all. And that's why you got all the troops there in the region circling around Venezuela. And the whole point is they're trying to make Venezuela collapse from within so they can do their regime change and put in their puppet leader, who, by the way, the only pro-war Nobel Peace Prize person, right? Imagine winning a Nobel Peace Prize and immediately going, great, let's wage war against my own country. That's what this woman did. She's a total psychopath. She wanted to dedicate her Peace Prize to fucking Trump. That's how crazy she is. She begged Netanyahu to do regime change of Maduro. That's who this woman is. This is who they're trying to put in place. So here's Susie Wiles admitting, of course the goal is regime change. Duh. course we're gonna do a regime change war. Now, by the way, it's interesting, right? Because we're all on the outside going, oh, he's just gonna start doing the regime change and like as in invade Venezuela, bomb inside Venezuela. He's just gonna start doing that at some point. It's only a matter of time. Meanwhile, they still feel in the back of their minds like, okay, we know this is illegal if we were to do that. So they fear like impeachment would actually happen if they did that. Well, I got news for them. I probably shouldn't say this publicly yet, but I got news for them. But no, the Democrats are too weak and there wouldn't be enough Republicans who break. And so, yeah, like they actually would kind of get away with it if they just decided we're going to do a land war in Venezuela and we're going to start bombing in Venezuela proper. I think they're overestimating their enemies, right? They're acting like, oh, since this is illegal, there would be consequences. You've done 1,000 things that are illegal and there's been no fucking consequences. At least no legitimate ones, right? No like real ones. And so that's fucking interesting to me right here, that's in the back of their mind. So that's fascinating. But so here you have Susie Wiles spilling all the tea. She is serving tea left and right and spilling it. She had a glass of tea and then spilled the remainder of it, had another glass and spilled it. She knocked over the whole fucking jar of tea. That's what she did. And of course, they're in fucking panic mode now and they're trying to cover their tracks. I don't know if you saw this, but Susie Wiles came out. I love this part. Susie Wiles comes out and goes, I didn't say those things you're saying I said. Ready? Watch this. Look. Vanity Fair reporter brings the receipts to fact-check Susie Wiles. Speaking of the New York Times, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles disputed she called Tesla CEO Elon Musk an avowed ketamine user during an on-the-record interview with Vanity Fair's Chris Whipple. Quote, that's ridiculous, Wiles told the Times. I wouldn't have said that, and I wouldn't know. Whipple, however, produced the receipts, playing a recording of Wiles saying just that for the Times. So she goes, that's ridiculous, I wouldn't have said it. And Vanity Fair goes, okay, here, watch this, play. And then it's her saying it. I love it. Now, what's really interesting, though, is this is fascinating to me. What's really interesting is, despite this, everybody in Trump world immediately came out and defended Susie Wiles. And the playbook was, it's fake news, say it's fake news, that's it, right? Say, we love Susie, this is fake news, that's it. But, like, it wasn't fake news. We know it's not fake news. There's evidence, like I just explained to you here. So, like, why would they still defend her? I don't know. It's very weird. I feel like she has some dirt on Trump. She might have some dirt on fucking everybody. Like, dirt that we didn't even hear here. Like, real dirt, right? And so, it's interesting to me that they're still defending her given all this and that there's been nothing negative about Trump against Susie Wiles. So, it makes me feel like there's something going on here. There's some dynamic that we're unaware of. Like, what role does she actually play? You know, does she know she knows where all the bodies are buried, metaphorically and maybe quite literally. She knows about their deepest, darkest secrets, so they can't turn on her. It really gives me that sort of a sense that she's got like that Mossad-level blackmail on Trump and everybody else in the regime, which is why, even given that she just sort of destroyed them low-key, high-key, they still can't like go back at her. So anyway, there you have it. Man, it is getting messy. And as I always tell you guys, this is what happens. This is what happens when the movement is now falling apart. It's crumbling. Trump's at 35%. He's only going lower. So this is the result. Everybody's turning on each other. Everybody's telling the actual truth, and I am here for it.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.